Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm a college student at UCLA, and a fun fact about me is that I enjoy playing basketball and tennis. Today I will be presenting on two-digit multiplication and long division with remainders. Today we're going to be learning about multi-digit multiplication. Do you remember your times tables? Let's take a look at those before we move on. 2 times 5 is equal to 10. But what does it really mean? Here I have two groups of gummy bears. Each group has 5 gummy bears. How many gummy bears do I have? In this example, the 2 represents our two groups, and we have 5 gummy bears in each group. So, if we multiply them together, we get 10 gummy bears in total. It's also the same as counting each group of gummy bears and adding it to the other, which would be 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. In other words, we are adding 5 2 times. What happens if we have more? Let's see how that would change a multiplication process. What if I had 15 groups of gummy bears? We could add 5 15 times. But that would take so much work. So let's multiply instead. So I have 15 groups, and each group has 5 gummy bears each. Multiply the ones placed at the bottom number by the ones placed at the top number. Place your answer in the ones place below the line. Multiply the ones place at the bottom number by the tens place at the top number. Place your answer in the tens place below the line. Place a 0 underneath the result in the ones place. And that's how we know that I have 75 gummy bears. Overall, multiplying with multi-digit numbers is just like multiplying single-digit numbers. Let's check out how much you've learned so far in practice. I think you totally got multiplication down. Now let's move on to division. Division is like the opposite of multiplication. 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. But what does this really mean? Here, I have 10 gummy bears. How many groups of gummy bears can I make if I divide the gummy bears into groups of 5? In this example, the 10 represents our total number of gummy bears, and 5 represents how many gummy bears are in each group. So, if we divide 10 by 5, we get 2 groups of gummy bears. Here is our first example, where we divide 80 by 5. First, we see how many 5s can go into the closest number, which is 8. We know that only one 5 can go into 8, because if we had 2 5s, we would get 10. Which is bigger than 8. Since only one 5 can go in 8, we put 1 on top of the 8. Next, we multiply 1 by 5, which is 5, and put our answer below the 8. Then, we subtract 5 from 8 to get 3, and bring down the next digit, which is 0, to form the number 30. Finally, we see how many 5s can go into 30. Since we know that 6 5s can go into 30, we put 6 on top of the 0. Now we check if 80 can be divided exactly by 5. We will multiply 6 by 5 to get 30, and put this answer below the other 30. When we subtract 30 by 30, we get 0, which means that 80 can in fact be divided exactly by 5. For our next example, we will divide 81 by 5. We will follow the same steps as the last problem, but watch what happens when we get to the last step. Oh no, we have a problem. This last number doesn't subtract to 0. What now? This number is called a remainder, because it is what remains after we finish division. This will happen often when we are dividing, because not every number can be divided evenly by other numbers. For our last example, we will divide 143 by 3. Since 3 can't go into 1, we will include the next digit in the first step along division by figuring out how many 3's can go into 14. Since 3 times 4 is equal to 12, and 3 times 5 is equal to 15, we know that only 4 3's can go into 14, so we will write 4 on top of the 4. Then, we multiply 4 by 3 and put our answer, 12, below 14. We will then subtract 14 by 12 to get 2. After, we will bring down the next digit, which is 3, to form the number 23. Now we will figure out how many 3's can go into 23. Since 3 times 7 is equal to 21, and 3 times 8 is equal to 24, we know that only 7 3's can go into 23. Now we write 7 on top of the 3. Finally, we multiply 7 by 3 to get 21, and put our answer below 23. We will subtract 23 by 21 to get a remainder of 2, because 3 can't go into 2. As you can see, multiplication and division are still opposites of each other, even with more digits. Although this may seem complicated at first, it will get easier as you practice. I hope you all had a lot of fun learning about two-digit multiplication and long division with remainders. I know that these problems can be a little tricky at first, but just keep practicing and you'll get the hang of it. Thank you for watching and see you next week.